Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today, baby? Well, your name is Brian Steele. You have been busy on the ones and twos. Y'all, Brian Steele has literally been submitting prison Yelp reviews on Diddy's behalf so he can become a free man. You guys, what am I talking about? Brian Steele basically submitted prison Yelp review of Diddy's free game course he gives at jail. These prison Yelp reviews, oh my God. These are all his new character witnesses, people that are locked up in jail with them. Now, here, listen, I'm not saying because you've been to jail, been arrested, that you are disposable. I am saying that let's talk apples to apples. One, Diddy's free game course, which, by the way, already sounds like a scam, already sounds like a con. Free game course from jail. Are we still in 2009? What would you rather do? Take $1 million or have dinner with Jay-Z? And baby, Diddy ain't Jay-Z. What would you rather do? Let me just say this. If Diddy had free game to give up, where's everybody that benefited from that game? Honestly, where is it? His kids aren't billionaires. I don't think any of them have careers. I know they are young, but at the end of the day, he didn't even know how to build up the kids. Who are his associates that he made billionaires? Who are his associates he made millionaires? As far as I know, Stevie J is still walking around in Miami in a silk two-piece, trying to see what that thing do. Talking about Carisha wouldn't never ride with you. Again, what is this free game? What wealth outside of his own has Diddy ever helped establish? And I'm even talking about down to his children. And how do I know there's no wealth there? Well, either that or the courts are lying, because they said that Diddy needs to come outside so he can financially support his grown children and his mama. His mama's not a millionaire. His kids aren't millionaires unless they are, and this is all BS. Again, what has Diddy done for the community? Even Young Miami, dear Your Honor, literally, she told a story that the most inspirational thing and the most beautiful thing her and Diddy ever did was that he took her to the Met Gala. And when I started hearing that, I was like, yo, what charity has Diddy actually accomplished? Until Miami wanted to write a letter saying she was Diddy's charity. A little black girl from Dade County finally got to be on the Met Gala. Girl, you were part of the City Girls. I'm sure if QC actually looked for a connection, they could have you on. This was the pinnacle of why we supposed to release this man for jail. Diddy is giving a free game course that didn't even work on his own kids, associates, loved ones. Is Young Miami a millionaire? She might be. I don't think she is. I don't think all the real millionaires, outside of Stephen Hill from BET and a few other people, is disappointed, but they made their money outside of Diddy. All the people in Diddy's circle, can y'all name one millionaire? I'm talking about with his family, with his loved ones, and with the girls that he dated. Interesting enough, with the free game course, I find it very, very interesting that it looks like to me 90% of the people that wrote a letter for Diddy were either his employees, his business associates, or women he allegedly had on payroll, or his significant others, girlfriends, babies' moms, whatever you want to call it, or people related to him by blood. And Diddy has this legacy of Black excellence. And as a woman with 4 Black grandparents and 2 Black parents, I can speak on the people, right? If we're into the whole point of Black excellence, where is this excellence he created? I'm not talking about the facade. It's not my fault that your mama ain't love you and your daddy ain't teach you nothing, and you needed to see Diddy doing the Harlem Shake, which, by the way, he admitted that he's been on Tucci for how many years? So you see somebody that literally the highest person in the room, right? And this is what you're like, wow, it's not my fault that you grew up in a part of the Black community where that monster motivated you, where you ain't have nobody else being a doctor, being a lawyer, getting it in. How about this? How about even if you're working at just like CVS, Walmart? Ain't no shame in that at all. There's no shame in being working class. There's no shame in being broke. There's no shame in living paycheck to paycheck. 95% of America is doing that. The shame is when you're not a good person. So can somebody please explain to me how that they are trying, the Diddy Brigade is trying to convince us that in America, we need to keep this, in 2025, we need to keep this monster on the street. We need to keep this monster on the street, because if not, how will we know that we belong in those rooms? How will we know that we're welcome? How will we know? As if he is Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King all wrapped up in one. I find the conversations that are being had about Diddy to be super, super insulting. I find it incredible that there are actually Black people having these conversations, telling on themselves that you come from filth, you come from degeneracy, your mama ain't love you, and your daddy ain't teach you nothing, and every man or woman you met in your life treated you worse so much that you see this person and you're just like, wow, look what I can do. I'm talking about the people that have platforms going this. Miami, stand up. You are part of the City Girls. I don't know what you've seen in your life, but the fact that you're like, my life was irreparably changed, because he took you on a couple of trips. He took you to a private island. Your kids weren't even around for the holidays, according to Little Rod. Was it worth it? Is everything he poured into you, is that more than you could have gotten on your own? Maybe it is, and that's fine. But can we just all start talking about Diddy does not stand for the Black community. He doesn't. He did when we thought he was like a great father and a genuinely good person. But once his moral character went into the dirt, Diddy does not speak for the Black community. He does not speak for Black men. He don't speak for Black women. He speaks for a billionaire scumbags. And if you guys are not billionaire scumbags, and I want to say being a scumbag don't count. If you are not a billionaire scumbag, then Diddy don't speak for you. But I guess the scumbags are hoping one day they play their cards right, they can be billionaires. But see, that's the thing with the free game course that Diddy magically did once he was in jail, right? Because before that, he couldn't even give his kids the free game, because where's their businesses? And no, I'm not talking about them being on Snapchat. Where are their businesses? Where's their acumen? Where are they doing? They're sitting there telling the judge that they won't even be able to financially survive without their dad. Right? The probation department is recommending, and this is unbiased, pre-sentencing report, between 53 and I think 87 months. That's up to between 5 years and 7 years and 3 months. And the prosecution said, baby, we going onward and upward. Okay? Some people said that Diddy's going to be going home today. That is impossible, because the judge is going to listen to the arguments, and then he's going to take about sometime next week to look over the arguments, see which one is better, write up his opinion, and then make his ruling. What does that tell you? That Diddy is going to be sentenced before a ruling for the acquittal comes through. So what is everybody talking about? Diddy's going home today. How? We are living in upside down world. I do want to say this, and I've said it once and I've said it again. As many times our people are like, Tisa lied, because they dumb, they broke, there's a lot of things going on, right? And when I say broke, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about in spirit. Right? Because money is the cheapest thing in the world. Everybody can get money, okay? The whole thing is that, did I lie? Because the pre-sentencing report, when they saw the evidence, came to the same conclusion that I did, that you did, that we did about what's going on with Diddy. Again, you guys, there's going to be a lot of content over the next few days, because we are going to get into every single person that wrote a character reference for Diddy. Let them be named. Let them be shamed. I do feel like they should be ashamed of what they've done, but it is their choice, and I respect that. We respect our right to laugh at their choices. But can we also say this? Everybody's talking about Diddy had over 60, 70 people that wrote letters for him. Okay. And everybody's saying, oh, but he treated me good. Okay. But can I also say this? Murderers have people in court crying over them all the time. People that, Jeffrey Dahmer, didn't his mom write a character reference? The fact of the matter that we can't separate the fact that you can be, the fact we live in a world that people are like, well, he was good to me. The fact that we live in a world where people are so selfish, so self-confused, so willing to do anything for a Gucci bag, a Chanel bag. And baby, I'm not just talking about the women, because you ain't seen groupies till you seen men or people that are old enough to be men around somebody rich, around a man with money. Baby, that's a bottom hole if I ever saw one. But the fact that we live in a world where people are genuinely looking at us dead ass and saying, well, he was nice to me. So, okay, well, if that's the case, every rapist, most of them in court got family and wives and stuff shocked. Every serial killer got a neighbor that said, he was so nice, I wonder what happened. Again, getting money, doing business deals, taking somebody for promotion to the Met Gala, like, that's not charity work. And the fact that all these people writing letters don't realize you were Diddy's charity work, he was using you for his own gain. And that was the pinnacle of your life, I guess. Anyway, shout out to Brian Steele for submitting Yelp reviews from prison inmates about Diddy's free game course that he just started 6 weeks ago. Hopefully his kids signed up for it, because they won't need it. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.